right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Nice looking Thursday. You know, all this news from North Korea and threats from ISIS all the time. Oh my gosh, the world is crazy, and nobody knows it more than somebody who has served in the military. And when somebody who has served in the military also seems to be able to convey some of the truth about what's going on out there through the written word, we pay attention. And when it's done in the form of a novel, then even a guy like me pays attention. I think sometimes the novels make it through my skull, I think, better than like a news report. Dr. Sean McFate is on the phone. He is the author of a book called Deep Black. It is a Tom Locke thriller novel. I've heard from some of you already this morning. Looking forward to this interview because you're a fan of Tom Locke. Stories. Sean McFate served as a paratrooper in the United States Army 82nd Airborne Division, a professor of strategy at the National Defense University and Georgetown University School of Foreign Service. He ran military operations for a major private military corporation that are similar to those in the story Deep Black. Let's say good morning to Dr. Sean McFate. Good morning, sir. Thank you for everything and for your service.
Thank you. It's great to be on your show.
And where are you? Where are you calling from?
I am calling from Washington, D.C. today.
Before I ask you anything about being a writer, I want to ask you about being a reader. With your background, when you read books that are similar topics, do you sometimes roll your eyes because the rest of us writer wannabes, and not that I'm one of them, by the way, I didn't mean to throw myself into the group, but I mean, do you sometimes roll your eyes saying, "Oh my gosh, they don't have a clue"? And I'm not asking you to pick on anybody, but does that happen?
Yeah, it does. Even amongst some of my favorite writers, if you're a military guy or gal or you've done stuff with the CIA and stuff, the stuff that comes out of fiction in Hollywood, even though it's a lot of fun, it's the details. That would never happen. And that's kind of why I started to pick up the pen and had the presumption that I could actually do this. But yeah, this was sort of, I want this novel series to be accurate. I want it to be, those who read it from Special Operations Forces would say, yeah, this is actually how things go down.
This is how it goes down. And doesn't the Pentagon pay attention to authors like yourself because you might give them a kind of a heads up of what might happen?
Yeah, well, there's two things I got to worry about. One is I don't reveal any secrets, and I am very careful. I have had clearances and so forth not to betray any sources and methods. The second is that I do things that are like Deep Black is based on a real life situation right now about the future of warfare, where we're heading, how to fight, how to lose, frankly, and how to win. And so, fiction can be a great platform for truth-telling.
Yes, and especially as I was trying to imply in the opening, for a guy like me, what I mean by that is when I was in school, the classes that taught history and social studies, I kind of got bored until it was told in the story form. Then I got it. Or if I had a novel or a movie that told the story, for some reason that made it through to my understanding more than just the facts and figures did.
Yeah, and I think storytelling is extraordinarily powerful. It can really, it also brings things to life. I've written nonfiction books. I do a lot of writing for think tanks. But I find that when I talk to people, they always connect to Tom Locke. And, Tom Locke, it's a fun read, but it's also an enlightening one. And that's what I want to try to achieve.
He is human, though. I mean, he didn't allow his military training to overtake the personal side of him. He is not a machine. He has emotions.
That's right. I mean, this whole series actually started as a memoir. I was a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division. I got out. I became a private military contractor for the U.S. government in Africa and elsewhere, doing things that the CIA really should be doing. A lot of stuff is outsourced now. And I wanted to write about this as a memoir, but my agent was like, no. If you do that, you'll be sued to death. You'll be in jail. So thus was born Tom Locke. And Tom Locke, he's sort of like me, but he's much more hardcore and much more damaged. And he's not just like a mercenary with a mercenary special forces team. This book opens up when he's operating out of Kurdistan and operating inside of the ISIS caliphate, trying to rescue Yazidi girls from being raped to death, frankly. And he's a slum working out of Erbil, but he and his team act according to conscience and not paycheck.
Wow. Oh, my gosh. And I'm guessing that happens with the girls being raped to death. That is crazy. Oh, my gosh.
Not only that, it's in ISIS, this book will take you inside of ISIS, and it's based on actual reporting, which I really can't get into here, but it's based on truth. And ISIS jihadis would capture Yazidi or Christian women and girls, and they would auction them off. And they would even have an iPhone-like app for it as well. And the value was placed on virginity and age, and it's pedophilia gone very, very wrong. Not that it's ever right, but it's disgusting.
Oh, you call your book Deep Black, but you also reference the term deep state.
I do. So deep state actually is an idea that Steve Bannon and the alt-right have turned into conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. There's actually a literature, an academic literature on deep states. And much of this book actually has it's undergirded by actual scholarship. It doesn't read like that. But a deep state is a situation like you might argue that the U.S., our military-industrial complex is a deep state. It's not a conspiracy. It's just that everybody's incentives are aligned so we produce more aircraft carriers than we need. Much of the Middle East politics are actually deep state politics around Shia versus Sunni Muslims and countries. It's not really about countries. It's about Muslim deep state. Two Muslim deep states at war. And Tom Locke brings you right at the middle of that war.
The interesting relationship between a writer such as yourself, you've got some information for us, you've got the ability to tell a story, and that relationship with a publisher who again, quite frankly, has to make money on the book. So it reaches us in a way that wouldn't have reached us before, not to be redundant with that same kind of a sentiment, I guess. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I just thank God for the wisdom of our founding fathers. The freedom of the press, I don't know that you call this the press, but the freedom to write whatever you want to write and help educate the rest of us, whether it's through a story or through journalism. It really does enlighten us to know how bad it is so that we know how tough we have to be.
Well, not only that, but also how we handle these problems. So, one of my favorite writers growing up was Jean Le Carre, right? And he was a spy novelist in the late 50s and early 60s, but his background, he was MI6, which is like the Britain's, CIA. And he used fiction to pull back the curtain on the actual Cold War, how it was fought by KGB versus CIA and MI6. And I kind of want to do the same with this novel series. I want to pull back the curtain on modern warfare and how it's actually being fought in the shadows, and it's not just terrorists versus SEAL Team 6. There's a lot of other actors on the ground, and I want to introduce readers to who those people are and what they fight for.
This is such a great book. I have a copy of the book. If you want the one I have, call me right now, 622-9622. I will leave it for you on Patsy's desk or in the closet or wherever we put these things. The rest of us have to go buy it. Sean, do you have a website you can direct us to?
Sure. You can go to my website. It's Sean, SEAN, McFate, MCF as in Foxtrot, ATE.com, and also has links to the book, audiobook, and ebook.
Sean, thank you for being on the air with us. And again, thank you for your service.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
All right. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident on this Thursday. Times of clouds and sun with a thunderstorm in spots this afternoon. The high 88 to 92. Some patchy clouds Thursday night, low 73 to 77. Intervals of clouds and sun on Friday with a shower or thunderstorm around, mainly in the afternoon across the interior, high 89 to 93. For Saturday, partly sunny, a morning shower or two, then an afternoon thunderstorm, a high of 88 to 92. From the Florida Weather Center, meteorologist Joe Lundberg.